Today on How It's Made. Evaporative cooling towers. Evaporative cooling towers keep large buildings and industrial machines cool. Circulating liquid carries the excess heat to the cooling tower, typically installed on the roof. The tower uses cold water to cool that fluid, then transfers the heat to the atmosphere through an evaporation process. Pumps move the fluid carrying the excess heat through the cooling tower's closed-circuit coil. Nozzles spray the coil with cold water. The spray water absorbs the heat, and the cooled fluid returns to the building. Fans blow air onto the now warm spray water to evaporate just enough to release the heat. Then the cooled water loops back to the spray system and the cycle repeats. Depending on the size, the coil is made up of as many as 56 circuits. A circuit is a zigzag tube, 1 inch in diameter. The mill forms a continuous straight tube from a strip of carbon steel. The rollers progressively curve the edges upward until they join at the top. The last station on the mill welds the joined edges together to form a continuous seam. Next, workers transfer the straight tube to a semi-automated tube bender, which forms it into a circuit. Depending on the size of the circuit, there can be as few as 6 bends or as many as 18. To make a circuit with 18 bends can require a straight tube that's over 300 feet long. Once all the circuits are ready, workers stack them on a frame. Then weld the tube ends to the corresponding holes of a steel plate. They close up the plate with a cover called a header. After clamping the header in position, they weld it in place, forming a pressure-tight seal. The coil is now fully constructed and ready for testing. Technicians submerge it in water, then pump air through at high pressure and look for bubbles, which would indicate a leak in a circuit. If they do find a leak, they either repair or replace the circuit. Meanwhile, work is underway on the cooling tower's mechanical section. A computer-guided laser cutter prepares the steel panels that make up the section's rugged structure. Workers then bend the panels where required with a machine called a press brake. Then they assemble the panels to build the structure. Meanwhile, another team has assembled a mechanical section ceiling which houses the fans. Workers lower this onto the structure. Inside the mechanical section, they install the belt that links the motor's pulley to each fan pulley. After tightening the belt screw with an impact wrench, they test the fans. Meanwhile, the coil has been dipped in molten zinc to make it corrosion resistant. Workers mount it next to the cooling tower's mechanical section. They cover it with a steel housing and install the water spray system on top of it. The sprayed cold water absorbs the heat from the fluid circulating through the coil. The fans then cool the water by evaporation as it flows downward through a bundle of PVC sheets. The machine first heats the PVC to soften it, then stamps it with a mold plate. This imprints a proprietary pattern of peaks and valleys. This pattern is the secret to the evaporative cooling process because it moves the air and spreads the water in a way that maximizes efficiency. Workers stack the sheets on pole supports to construct a bundle of 300 sheets. After placing the bundle in a housing, they install it over a basin. This basin collects the cold water before it's pumped back up to the sprayers to repeat the cycle. This completes the cooling tower's lower module. They now mate it with the upper module, containing the fans, coil, and spray system. This evaporative cooling tower has more than 300 times the capacity of a typical residential air conditioning system. Now that's pretty cool.
The AC Renew injector tool was designed to inject AC Renew into air conditioning and refrigeration systems. It is constructed of rugged aluminum, has a capacity of 4 fluid ounces, and has a maximum working pressure of 600 psi. The AC Renew injector tool uses a core depressor connected to a short length of hose and a hand valve at one end, and a Schrader fitting at the other. In this video, you will learn how to use the AC Renew injector tool to safely and effectively install AC Renew as well as other injectable products. First, make sure the system is running and the low side and high side service ports are properly identified. For heat pumps, make sure the system is in cooling mode. Open the AC Renew injector by turning the silver disc beneath the Schrader fitting counterclockwise. Remove the cap from the low side service port, and before connecting, check to make sure the hand valve of the AC Renew injector is in the closed position. Connect the 1/4 inch SAE fitting of the blue hose on the injector to the suction service port of the system. Once connected, quickly open and close the hand valve on the injector to chase the remaining air out of the hose. Open your container of new Calgon's AC Renew and pour 4 fluid ounces into the open end of the injector tool. If using the quart bottle of AC Renew, notice that 4 ounces will fill the injector tool to just beneath the threads found on the inside of the injector. Replace the aluminum cap on the AC Renew injector tool with the Schrader fitting facing outwards. Make sure the cap is hand tight to ensure the injector assembly is fully sealed. Before proceeding any further, make sure both valves on the gauge set are closed and all fittings are tightened. Connect the high side red line of the manifold gauge set to the high side service port of the system. Remove the protective cap from the Schrader fitting and barely thread the middle yellow manifold hose to the 1/4" male inlet fitting of the AC Renew injector tool. Be very careful as to not depress or otherwise engage the Schrader core. Briefly crack open the high side manifold valve to purge air from the yellow hose, then quickly tighten the loose yellow hose fitting at the injector and close the high side manifold valve. Open the injector tool's hand valve to allow AC Renew to flow from the injector into the low side of the system. Briefly open the high side valve of the manifold gauge set to allow a small amount of high side liquid to flow through the yellow hose and injector. Close the high side manifold valve. Repeat this process for a total of 1 minute of manifold valve open time to ensure AC Renew is fully injected into the low side of the system. When finished injecting AC Renew, close the high side valve of the manifold gauge set and wait an additional minute for the injector assembly to normalize its suction pressure. Fully close the hand valve on the AC Renew injector tool and remove the blue hose from the suction service port. Once disconnected, slowly open the hand valve so it equalizes the assembly to atmospheric pressure. Ensure the outlet fitting is pointed toward the ground, directing any discharge away from the body. Once fully discharged, close the hand valve and remove the yellow manifold hose from the injector. Return the cap to the Schrader fitting to prevent contamination before the tool's next use. AC Renew has been used successfully for many years to improve the performance of air conditioning and refrigeration systems. It quiets noisy compressors, reduces energy consumption, and improves heat transfer in both the evaporator and condenser. New Calgon's AC Renew is now OEM approved as a field remedy for sticking thermostatic expansion valves as well as reversing valves. For more information on AC Renew and all New Calgon products, visit us at www.newcalgon.com.
JB Industries has been making pumps for over 35 years. And over those 35 years, we've made the top quality, best performing pump on the market. We have recognized recently, though, that there is a market for a more economical pump. Our Platinum Series pumps, which offer integrated ball valves, gas ballast valves, and other high-end features, aren't always needed. We've introduced an eliminator vacuum pump with a few less features than our premium Platinum Series pump. As a result, we are now able to offer a made in the USA JB quality pump at a price point that can compete with the imports. The pump will accommodate up to 22 ounces of oil, which is great for larger jobs where oil gets contaminated more quickly. There are a couple of ways to fill the eliminator. Simply remove the oil fill cap. All JB oil carts come with a conical shaped cap for easy fill. You can cut off depending on the speed of fill that you desire. Simply put in the hole and allow to fill. Ensure that your oil drain is closed at this time, otherwise oil will come out of the bottom. The other way to fill your JB eliminator vacuum pump is simply use any funnel, remove the cap completely, and fill. It's important to set the oil level properly on the eliminator. On the eliminator pump, we have oil level engraved on arrows. You simply need to ensure that the oil level lines up with the arrows and you will have maximum amount of oil. If oil is overfilled, it may exhaust out through the handle. If oil level is too low, it won't seal properly and you won't achieve your desired vacuum level. Another feature on the eliminator vacuum pump are the intake ports. We offer a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 intake depending on the hose and manifold connection setup that you have. There's a large oil sight glass on the eliminator front cover to give you a clear view of both oil contamination and oil level. All JB eliminator vacuum pumps come with a 1/2 horse start capacitor motor to ensure that the pump starts every time, even in cold and hard starting conditions. Each motor also comes with a low profile rocker switch to ensure that the switch won't get accidentally bumped off during an evacuation. Another important feature of the JB eliminator vacuum pump is the oil drain. Many of the competitors just have a screw with an O-ring that falls into an oil pan as you're draining the oil. The JB has a fully functional in-house designed valve which opens and closes against an O-ring seal. The vacuum pump oil serves 3 functions in a vacuum pump. It's a coolant, a lubricant, and a sealant. The oil really is the lifeblood of your vacuum pump, so we recommend changing after every use. If you're unsure if you're ready for an oil change and you can't tell by looking through the sight glass, we recommend attaching a micron gauge directly to the pump. If you achieve 50 microns or better, your oil is still good. If not, it's time for an oil change. The JB Eliminator series of vacuum pumps, as with all of JB's vacuum pumps, comes with an unprecedented 2-year over-the-counter warranty. Every eliminator pump is 100% tested on the line, 4 hours and overnight. We test for ultimate vacuum, CFM, heat, noise, and other important features in a vacuum pump. As a result of our thorough testing, you can be certain that the JB Eliminator vacuum pump will give you many years of service.